Hello, my name is Arthur Fonseca, and I'm part of this poetry collective and creative writing group that we're Dixonians, and so there's 5, maybe 6 people, and we've got a couple of new folks, which I'm really happy about, and young folks. But let me just, so 2 of the longest term members of our poetry collective are here. There's Tommy Valdez and Karen Thibodeau in the back there going through her stuff. And so it's probably about 2 years ago, Tommy started this really fierce text message thread, which was what we're going to name our group. And it took a while, but finally I think it was Karen who sort of came up with the idea of Voices of the River, and which seems really appropriate. I took a walk up the end of the river this morning, and oh my God, the flash flood was just epic. And so between the fire, which has been looming over us all, and the flash floods. Oh, yes, we've really got it going on here. So I wrote this poem sort of because of that brainstorming session between Tommy, Karen, and myself about what the name of the group is going to be. Voices of the river speak to me through my dreams, because the river is life. It is the river of life. It is also the river of dreams. Beautiful snowfields melting to form the river of words that flow from past life memory. And as the river of dreams flows into the river of words, they echo through the valley of incarnation, speaking through this fleshy condensation. Voices in the river harmonize in the ether as they flow into the ocean of our emotions, floating, endlessly appearing, furthering and nearing, louder and softer, singing eternal harmonies and crescendos of the cyclic inferno. Voices of the river whisper gently from the dream time, infinitely repeating the cycles of evaporation and condensation, precipitation, irrigation, and transpiration, sweating, thirst, and saturation. Because I am both the source and mouth of the river is me, and I am the river, inseparable and sacred, translating nature's force. When we divert the river of words into the acequia of healing, we open the headgate to flood the temporal field, altering our fate. We cultivate beauty eternal, and where trauma is healed, shortening the cycle of inferno. In the river of life, the river is life. It is also the river of dreams, and voices of the river repeat the echoes from the valley of incarnation and the mountains of memory, where everything and nothing is as it seems. Look, we've got a poem. And what I want to say about that poem is that it was the interaction between all of us as poets that actually produced that work. And so there's really something to be said about being in a poetry group. So, well, I've read this poem like every time I've performed in public here in Dixon, and I wrote this one, the next one. So this came out of, the last time I was in Berkeley was in 2019, and I was staying with a friend friend whose mom had been burned out of her house in Paradise, California. And so the way poems have been coming to me lately is sort of, it's in there and it's working, and it's like it might take a couple months or a year or something, I don't know what. But dedicating this poem to my friend's mom, who died while I was staying with her. I think she died of a broken heart because of the tragedy of being burned out of her house. And I was sort of, when I first started talking to Winston about doing a poetry reading, I said, oh, I've done Paradise is Burning, and people have heard it. And but then we've had this crazy fire. The fire has just been outrageous, and it's been looming all over everything for months now. And I'm hoping that this rain, aside from the flash flood, the rain has helped to put the fire out. Because, my God, talk about a tragedy, and a conflagration, and everything. So if you haven't guessed, the name of the poem is Paradise is Burning. And it's dedicated to my friend's mom, who died of a broken heart from being burned out of her house in Paradise, California. Paradise is burning, and the angels are falling through that atmospheric tearing, twisting and turning, in the fiery wind dancing like embers blowing. The angels' wings are broken by the truth unspoken. Paradise is burning because the climate is changing. The angels' wings are broken, and they are falling through the atmospheric tearing, twisting and turning, like embers being scattered and ashes churning by the fiery winds blowing. The beauty of nature is battered. Paradise is burning. A hungry chaos it is feeding. Frenzy of fire dancing. The highways are white, writhing and screaming. The angels are falling. Their wings have been broken. The bones of our dreams are shattered by the truth unspoken. The earth being battered by greed and unknowing. Paradise is burning. A hungry chaos it is feeding, and angels are falling, their wings having been broken by the truth unspoken. Through the atmospheric tearing, a fiery wind is blowing, embers twisting and turning, then falling to ashes of dreams that are shattered, thrown cold to the ground. The beauty of nature is battered, the earth being tortured by greed and unknowing. How much time do I have? 5 minutes? Another 5 minutes? Does that sound good? Okay, I just wrote this poem this morning, so it's a good thing about doing live poetry readings is it motivates you to do stuff. And this poem had been turning over in my head since last winter. So there's a field where I walk the dogs, and it's up at the top of the Inglewood Valley. And this morning it experienced a flash flood, so it was its own thing, you know. I could write a poem about the flash flood, but this is about the field in with frost on it in the middle of the winter. Yeah, Abby was there. That river was right up to your doorstep, right? Yikes. Flash flood. So yeah, the field's right next to the river, and it just, oh my God, you should see the Ezekiel filled with blood. I mean, filled with blood. And let me tell you what, digging out that Ezekiel, digging that mud out of the Ezekiel, brutal. That is the hardest work you can do. The frost lay on the field like a mirror of frozen moonlight, shimmering pearlescent in the first rays of light from the midwinter sunrise. Each drop of frozen moisture as it clung to the dormant vegetation, glistening and sparkling with rainbow colors, each particle of frost a miniature fairy kingdom populating the field with the most serene and infinite form of enchantment. I think this mic set a little high. Doesn't it sound loud? No?
Sounds good.
All right. This is a poem about the goddess. I was reading about these rock temples in the island of Malta, and I was thinking about passage graves in Ireland, and sort of this came out, or the Oracle of Delphi. So it starts off there. From a crevice, a noxious fume emits, enveloping the oracle where she sits, and the chamber begins to moan with her chanting phonic tones. Oh, the belly of the goddess sings of prophecies and future things, voicing frightening sounds. The collective womb resounds with sounds that no ear can hear. From frozen space, lost souls voice their fear. In the ochre-painted cave I sleep, incubating dreams from the deep. In the darkness between red-hot sentient stones, I burn, then grind my mother's bones. I become the dream snake, slithering through the mucus and the slime, through the darkness to taste the fruit of time. So it's my pleasure to introduce our next reader. This is Alexandra Olivia. Is this the first time you've ever read your stuff in public, Alexandra?
Indeed.
So give her a big hand. The newest member of the Voices in the River.
So happy to be here. I live here up in the highlands of the Llano San Juan. Nice. So I live in the montañas where, I don't know, I have a little farm, birds, animals, They're my life. So I have a theme in my poetry. It's short and sweet, and moments of time that I've been able to encapsulate in words. So, here we go. And the theme of my poetry is truth, love, healing, consciousness, and magic with a K. Staying true is nothing without risking it all. May the force be with you. Rainbow spectrum light force, that is. Magic lies within all the hearts, hands, and minds when aligned. Our cells are compositions of space that twinkle in a constant way. We are fireworks. All things belong to another, forming interstellar dimensions. Becoming true ones takes time and patience. Choosing our highest truth in this cosmic flight requires heartfelt skill. But once you hear the voice in your heart, all doors open yet again, and wholeness saturates our current landscape. Speak it sweetly and completely, finding everything your heart desires. Thank you. Live long and prosper. For those searching for their soul as if it's a wandering this globe, search no more. Just continue to breathe, speak, and live your truth. Let your heart be the guide through all that is life, and it will come back to you fully. Time for the biggest reset of your life. The ability to live in true paradise. Your soul stays young, but the body grows older until you master your magic. I honor my vessel, learning to shed and share a brighter light into the night, the cosmic sea of love, beaming so bright, a love worth remembering. It makes everything feel all right. You are me, I am you. Don't stop loving, don't stop remembering. Finding bliss in remoteness. Nature healings calling your name. I am praying for this time to change. A golden age here on earth, without government and guns, no war or rage, only hearts breaking out of the cage. Truth and love lives within, surfacing more now inside than ever before. Don't lose hope or run away. When the dream doesn't fade, you know it's real. Deep inside, accessing a new memory. Remember, being human is a gift of cosmic order, space and sound. Time is pointless. We really must see the whole reality. I trust we can stick it to the man, dissolving old systems, kissing them with love, until we are all flying free. No more clipped wings. This is relevant to our weather lately. Monsoon magic, a glittering rain, awakening the mind, stepping outside of this cage. The past is the past. The future lies ahead. Now is forever, and forevermore we will grow into our hearts, dancing in the rain, honoring our desires, letting our emotional bodies heal, entering the infinite power of the now, experiencing this shift, allowing it to happen without fight, without war. Could be quick if we all just live in this moment. We'll all be shown how to live true lives again. Sacred medicine in the valleys, near the sea, up high upon the mountain tops. There's a clock that never stops. As above, so below, as within, so without. Medicine surrounds us, connecting to more than what the eye can see, unfolds the great mystery of our true heart's golden path. Our dreams are sure to last. After everything, she breathes, accessing sacred records of truth within ourselves, extending far out in the stars. She breathes, weaving together truth, bathing in it, expelling illusion, calmly listening to her heartbeat, traveling home through other worlds, communicating to the blue deer, learning, teaching, and remembering forever. So then we take it there's a little shed of a personal light, but I'm really trying to help human beings raise their vibration and remember that magic within. And we also experience heart-centered experiences through our life. So, balancing act with time. Boy, oh boy, you are divine. Dancing with wolves, realizing the darkness inside that's healing. Day by day, we realize this process, counting the moons until we feel wholeness, listening to our wild side that connects us into nature, into silence of the mind with more kindness, where the true learning takes place. This is where we find our true golden pace. In life, in sound, surely it's best to go full round, until we flow again and feel harmonic, lingering in the loopholes of our cosmic origins, reflecting our sparkly thoughts back to one another in time and space. The time is not now to waste. And here's another. Don't let love make you fall apart. You are a warrior of love. Allow your feathers to be tattered. It's part of the ride. Embrace it this time. Embrace all of it. Configuring stillness amongst this twisted maze. Love is not a losing game. Our hearts are resilient and beyond wise. And here's just a gentle reminder in my last little bitty. The all, the could be, the all that will be, the all that ever is you. Thank you so much.
I'm not tech savvy. My name is Tommy Valdez, and I've lived here forever. It's a good place to grow up. It's a good place to climb trees and climb hills. And, it's just a great all-round neighborhood. My first poem is called Silent is the Night, and it's about going out at nighttime and looking up at the stars. So this is the way it kind of goes. Silent is the night upon which I gaze up to the stars. For what can be more exhilarating for the soul, and the tranquil peace it brings from within. I am left speechless, for the words cannot even describe what I have seen unfold before my eyes. I talk to myself in soft whispers, afraid that the sound of my voice would disrupt on the sanity of the evening. For I know I have to return to reality, the noise, the confusion that comes with living in a busy world. But not now, not yet. For this night belongs to me. If only it were that easy, I would build me a bridge to the heavens, to grab one of those stars from the sky and hold it in the palms of my hands, to feel its warm glow, and then release it back into the night, so that others too can enjoy it as well. Oh, the feeling of being able to travel beyond the sun, to take off my shoes and walk barefoot on the moon's surface, and then be able to dance along the Milky Way. Yes, it's nice to dream. Since we've been having a lot of fires here in New Mexico, I thought I wrote this one about forest fires and what's doing to man and to the animals. No? This one is called Forces of Fire. Forces of fire raging out of control. Clouds of smoke pour skyward, chokes the air. People hacking and coughing. It becomes hard to breathe. Eyes filled with tears. Oh, how it stings. Where has the sun disappeared to that I have not seen in days? And what are the stars at night that seem to have fallen from the sky? Hazy days now seem the norm, as fires turn once green forest to gray and leaves to brown. Flames spew forth like dragons' angry breath, siege everything in its path. Both man and animal step humbly to one side to watch the forest burn from afar. How do people start from the beginning to replace all that they have lost? And where do the animals seek refuge from a forest that was once their sanctuary and their home? The forest will come back. It must come back, as will both man and beast will return as well, to a forest that will be painted green once again. I call this one, well, I grew up in Dixon, so I have the luxury of talking about my ancestors and the chili and the green chili addicts around here and stuff like that. So this one is called Immersed in the Land. As dawn breaks, the sun breaks to rise over the mountains of the summit of the Crystal Mountains of northern New Mexico, initiating the start of a new day in the land that time somehow has seemed to forgotten. It is here, under the canopy of turquoise skies and its painted deserts, where one feels the land come alive and in some way trying to communicate with you. I love wandering among its hills of red painted clay that look like giant sandcastles from a distance, or dance around the pinon and juniper trees that lay scattered across the llanos and the valleys. For when I'm here, I can stare at the walls on the adobe wall for hours, admiring its smooth and gentle curves. Or I can stop what I am doing to watch the sunset bursting with orange and yellows that go streaking across the sky from here in the land of traditions, and now my answers to where my soul comes to seek sanctuary. This one is called Upheaval. And it's about what's going on in Ukraine and up in the world. You know, it's kind of the world's kind of like going a little bit haywire right now. No? So I call this one Upheaval, and it's called stop shaking. What will it take for wars to stop? Hate and anger, moral degradation, discrimination, to finally be laid to rest? When will people shout enough with all the killing and the greed and stealing? Or will it stop when there is no one left to bury? How much longer must people wait for justice, to right injustice of those thrown in jail for thinking differently from someone else? And where is the tolerance we had for others that now has lost its meaning as a word and cannot be found in a dictionary anymore? If left unchecked, our world will crumble, fester like an open wound, left to spread like a cancer, running the hearts and minds of people from within. How we wish to live this planet depends on us and for the future generations we leave behind. I call this kerosene lanterns, and kind of repeat, maybe for some of you have heard it before. And back in the day, my great-grandparents used to light up their homes with kerosene lamps instead of electricity, you know? And it's called kerosene lanterns. It goes like this. Kerosene lanterns burning lights, kerosene lantern burning lights up the home, exposing the warmth of adobe from darkness gloom. Flickering shadows dance ceremoniously on the walls to imitate the movements of a burning flame. Burn, little lantern, burn through the night, so as one can awaken to the first morning light. For long are the evenings of winter's domain. The night like the day must have its own rain. O kerosene lantern, with your warmth and soft glow, you bring hope and reassurance on those dark and cold lonely nights. Stay close to my side, my little lantern of light, so that you don't leave me in darkness without any sight. You expose all that is hidden by evening's long shadows to carry me safely till my tomorrows. I'll blow you out. I'll blow the flame out now, for my eyes and my body grow weary and tired, and rest do I need. For tomorrow I will see you again, my old friend, in a whole different light. This one is called, and I think this one's called a little boy that, he's in an upward age, and this is also a repeat too, but he's afraid of girls, and it's his first school dance, you know, so he's trying to fit in and stuff like that, you know. He's still pretty shy, you know. It can be kind of traumatizing if you're like 9 or 12 years old, you know, and you're forced to go to a school dance, you know. This is called my first school dance through the eyes of a little boy, you know. My first school dance with girls, and what a bummer. Paralyzed with fear, what am I going to do? It's mandatory that we attend. Damn, I know my life is through. I try to avoid this unavoidable, but my chances are looking pretty slim. Hey, maybe by some lucky chance, a lightning bolt hit that stupid gym. I stick into the dance all stealthy, where I hope no one has found me out. The band begins with some stupid love song. I don't know, something about don't leave your love in doubt. I run underneath the bleachers. It's every boy for himself. Of course, you will realize I'm just looking out for myself. Just when I think I had it made, a girl walks up to me wearing purple Snickers. She said, I could not help but notice you hiding underneath the bleachers. Sure enough, she asked me, would you like to go out and dance? I think hard for some lame excuse. Oh, I'm sorry, but a spider bit me through my pants. With that bit of overacting, she goes on to ask, take faster. Boy, was I really good. myself an Oscar. Hiding all that time has finally paid off. I think I know I'm in the clear. Yet I know that I am home free as I grade from year to year. There seems to be an empty feeling to this victory that seemed kind of sad. I said, girls are pretty cool. And it was no as bad as Tad. I ran home never looking back and hid underneath my bedroom covers. The only kiss I wanted tonight was a kiss from my own mother. This one's called La Mirada, and it means the stare or the look that your parents gave you, and I think it crosses many cultures. You know, it was a look by your parents given to behave without them having to tell you, but just that look in your eyes told you that to behave, no? And this is called La Mirada in Spanish, which means the look, no? La Mirada, how it still remains stuck in the back of my mind. That glance, that stare, or whatever you wish to call it, given by an authoritarian figure like a parent or grandparent, to suddenly persuade children to behave, and how to this day still manages to censure it up and down my spine. I, for one, never dared call my parents bluff when the other happened to be thrown my way. For I knew, as if some instinct children are born with, La Mirada had the luxury of a belt or a whip to back its threat, just in case La Mirada failed to not quite get its message across. With the superpowers La Mirada seemed to possess, I often wonder why my parents never got their own comic book story like Batman or Superman. Just imagine if policemen or judges had the same powers my parents did with their power on the other. Then they too would stop crying with just their eyes. Cool. Now that I have grown up and all is said and done, it turned out my parents were my superheroes after all. Thank you so much.
So I'm Karen Thibodeau. I live in Taos and Plainville, and had the pleasure of being part of this inspiring group for quite a while now. I wanted to share with you this poem about these wonderful buckwheat pancake breakfasts that used to happen before COVID. This poem is called The Sponge. I know a place where the stars come down, where lightning and thunder storm on the mesa top. I think of that mesa space of wonder as I stand in this yellow kitchen on red tiles, as I prepare your breakfast and think of others. I like to think of others. Without others, I can't think of myself. I am me, and we are we, in this yellow submarine. The best part is sharing breakfast with others, with many others. I used to have breakfast groups in which many of my friends gathered to eat buckwheat pancakes. And one of the pancakes was a sponge. All pancakes were smothered in blueberry syrup with mounds of blueberries and also maple syrup and also yogurt and also bananas. The face of the sponge cake eater with the sponge cake as he politely, laboriously, manfully struggled with his sponge was the most stellar movie in my mind, oozing with blueberry syrup. No lightning or thunder on the mesa top could make me lose that blueberry pancake mind movie moment. But I've lost that sponge. I long to find my pancake sponge, long to lure in a susceptible guest. These COVID times, susceptible guests are so rare. I think I have to go all the way back to that mesa place where the stars come down, far beyond the reach of any virus, and there on an antiviral plane reconnect with those happy times of gatherings unmasked with blueberry syrup running off the plate. I see it now, high on the mesa top, thunder rumbling, lightning looming, the guests holding down the blue paper tablecloth. I bring out a mountain of cinnamon buckwheat pancakes oozing with melted butter, lightning flashes. I flip pancakes on the plate of the susceptible guest, the sponge underneath, ladle on the blueberry syrup, and serve poker-faced. The movie is on. I will send the proceeds to those who need it, to those who don't have breakfast or sponge pancakes, to the rest of the crew on the yellow submarine. Now, as you can see, I'm in the older years of my life, and so I think about it often, about what kind of demise would be wonderful. So this is a poem which came to me from my 10-year-old friend as we were carrying out the compost together. It is called The Vines. He met me midway to the kitchen, gave me a brown-eyed sideways smile, and surrounded me in a 10-year-old hug, sinking into my winter layers, reaching around my 76-year-old middle. His mother said, "Could you carry out the compost? You still didn't do it. Please do it now." He sent a knowing nod in her direction. He picked up the oval earthen bowl stacked with green onion spears, squash seeds, potato peels, and slop. He turned his brown eyes to me and with that inviting sideways smile said, "Do you want to come?" "Yes," I said, and we went out into the dusk, past the great-grandfather willow tree, the ceremonial bowl buoyed, nesting on his head, the slop never slipping, centered with each step. At the bin, into the heap, he dumped the entire bowl. As I picked up a stick to tease out the pieces of chard stuck to the bowl's side, he stood silent. Then, with a slight smile, he said, "We're all compost," adding another knowing nod of the head, looking like he'd discovered electricity, or at least magnetism. Then, standing there in the failing light, the ooze dripping down between corn husks, rotten apples, tired chard, and peach pits, I found such comfort imagining myself carried out in the compost bowl, laid out on the old heap, on top of straggles of hopeful squash vines, old eggshells, and disintegrating apples, a new squash vine sprouting from my breast, and a yellow squash blossom opening in my mouth. I live right next to a kind of a bosque in Cañon, and when I walk out there, I often see elk prints in the snow or in the caliche, and they make me want to follow them, to find them, to inhabit them, or even to be an elk. This is about a poem about that. I know a place where the elk come down, coming from the Yojitos Trail, coming down from the high country, coming down to seek dry winter grass, to drink reservoir water. I see their hoof prints, and I step into them, play elk, move like a four-legged seeking water, move as they move, step with agile sureness into soft caliche. The fine clay like dust cushions their hooves, leaving so perfect elkin notes. These footprints left behind resonate like chapters of elkin novels, lie open like poems there before morning eyes, telling their tales for anyone who cares to read. I am that reader this rose-tinted morning at 6:41 a.m. I press my running shoes into elk feet, spread my nostrils wide, try to scent in the early air all that sunrise moment tells. Snow's breath wafting down from the mountains north across the valley. Rotting leaves lining the river's bank, down the roll of the knoll between the single-seated cedars. Skunk scent to the east where the coyotes chased last night. From the west, smoky smell of man's morning doings. And to the south, the rush of the sweet of summer's dried grasses. And yes, water. I turn my antlered head and go that way. If only I could be elk, man, woman, all that, and I could inhabit both realms, seek those sweet summer grasses, know all the water places, run from coyotes by night, by day press my shoes into Saucony toes, slip in the back door of the kitchen, just in time for pancakes, shake off my fur coat, and pour on the maple syrup, holding my forest secrets inside me as I smooth on butter and casually discuss taking the car in for an oil change and whatever else may be on the list of the day. For I know that as the sun lowers, I'll abandon that list, walk out the back door, for my feet will seek the higher climbs as the moon rises silver over Ojitos tonight. I work with children a lot, as some of you may know, and so I've also been part of a children's poetry group. And one day, this is my 10-year-old friend, found this wonderful poem in a green covered book, and it inspired me to create my own like that. So here's a few of these just for fun, and they have to be read with a lisp. So forgive me, but they're much better that way. Okay, here we go. I wish I was a fifth, and did not have to white my teeth and sweep the floors forevermore, and had nothing to do but swish my tail and twirl around in sun or gale and leap and lisp through water's bliss. I wish I was a fish. I wish I was a pail so I could hang upon a nail and only come down with the broom to frown upon the dusty, dusty floors, and while the broom whisks and wusks, I sit among the dust as a pail longing for my nail. I wish I was a toothbrush so I could go fusk among the white enameled crowns like tusks, rusking and musking the pointy bicuspids white, while they can do nothing but be uptight and remember not to bite. One more, that's my favorite one. I wish I was a spoon that got licked from morn till noon and be famous for running away with a dish in that tune about the moon and the cow crazy as a loon that jumped over the famous moon. I see it now, me and the cow on posters all over the moon. Just me and the smiling spoon as big as the cow. Forks all around the world jealous of me now. I have more if you want to meet later. And now this is in honor of my ex who passed recently. And this beautiful phenomena of fog happened at the river the next morning. It is called fairy business. Gossamer fogs sift over the still morning river, reflected in the green water's surface, so it looks like underwater fairies at play. Luminous gossamer clouds mirrored drift in among them like a pentamiento of yesterday. And up on the bridge, the old bridge, scratched into the rusted railing, the names of past loves, Severino y Marcia, forever. Just another morning in Pilar, where there are 90 on the voter rolls and only 50 show up to vote at the polls. Where trout run free under the tumbling waters and dreams beam up from willow-wrapped sleepers. I take another step and then look back to behold misty fog fairies still twirling in the rising sun. But here, on this side, back here, where the road leads to high places where eagles fly, there lie the ashes of my ex, easing down up there between the sage, easing down into the earth, easing down into time, washing down between grains of sand, blowing out on the mesa winds. We took them there yesterday, up there, high in the mesa where souls sing. I look back again. Fog fairies still taunt, twist, twirl, whisper the morning mantra of mist, of vapor, of clouds of time. I think now those who know can gaze up at that canyon's rim to the table mesa just below and whisper, Rich is up there, up on Arrowhead Flats. And I think, really, I have to give up divorcing him. We can't disappear into motel room 2 and shut the door anymore. But his memories fall out of the kitchen cupboard, hang next to my red flowered dress in the closet, slip into bed unannounced, sit down to breakfast with buckwheat pancakes, look back at me through the big brown eyes of our daughter. I turn away from that mesa, face the river again, behold the mists of those fog fairies swirling, conjuring now, and catch the wisps of their voices. Step into the fog path, the fog way, join our dance, walk across the water, shed your skin, let go of your hair, become a vapor, a morning vapor, only to disperse into the light. My old bearded friend at the end of the road, when I finally get there, when I tell him all this, all the fairies' voices, he says, ha, same old fairy business, the comings and the goings. And as I listen, I hear water footsteps, the fairies departing in the morning sun, saying old fairy business. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Yukia. You might know me already. So I'm going to read a couple of old poems and a couple of new poems. And the two that are older are ones that I've read at previous poetry readings, but I figured probably not everybody is there, and I felt like reading this one again. So as I was getting ready for the poetry reading, I kept thinking, like, what are words worth anyways? Why do we write things? What's the point? And listening to all these other poets made me feel like words were really great. And I wanted to share this one in particular because when we go down to a low place, there's sort of like the bottom that we reach, and this poem is about that. And then I'll work my way back up from there. So this one was from the first poetry reading we did. And there's a couple of issues that I voice in this poem that I just want to speak to. And one of those is molestation and the silence around that. And the other one is mental illness. Slaying of the self. There was a time when I became stuck in a dark belt of dreaming. Words were of little help. The stars came undone in the night sky, tickling my upturned face. I sang of blood pure and red, falling out of my heart. If you had been there listening, it might have sounded like Bobby McGee or even You Are My Sunshine. But on the inside, another story. I was trying to loosen the moorings on my own personal ocean of sorrow. Where is it that measured grief spills out from? Over minutes, days, years. Life has delivered so much tragedy. A loved one lying on a gurney under red draping, no longer there. Being overpowered by a grown man as a small child. Unspeakable actions stuck into your small head, tucked under barrettes or the hem of a dress that could have been pretty fairy tale things. All those that have died, so many lives, and then there is the world with all its suffering creeping in. Grief comes in unexpectedly, watching from dusty corners, in the spine of a book, in the moment when a radiant 7-year-old blows out her candles, in a room full of mirrors, in hearing his favorite song, when the wind rustles through the leaves unexpectedly on a heavy summer's day. The grinding of all this pain defines your bitterness and rage. As a lover's accusations come flying at you from a well-known face turned rawhide. At this moment, you are unhinged. Your ocean becomes the San Francisco Bay at low tide. Too many things left to be absorbed by the Earth Mother that is you. And now you are rotting between you and your next breath. The stench of your words stings the air, and you wonder who you are. What clarity is gained by the slaughter of sanity? The solid walls and context of fury cannot hold what is brewing inside your soul and heart. Breaking away from who you know yourself to be, you run headlong into solid objects and out into the open, grasping at air that remains beautiful, or grasping at the grass, cloth, brushes, bottles, and throwing them, flailing, hopelessness, throwing words in disconnected piles at passers-by until shame and realization creep in, all that you have torn apart. Getting back to yourself from this frightened animal, matted and frothing at the mouth, seems a monumental task. This one is called Blackberry Brandy, and it's dedicated today to my friend Daniela, who came down from Colorado for a visit. Searching out blackberry brandy, the cheap kind from the dusty liquor store that still has the old school New Mexico drive-up window, like in the plaza corner by the Rancho's church, sitting with friends in the bed of a pickup, free and open to the sky, saints and sinners. Deep down, there are memories of Norbert Ledoux, sitting slumped in his truck, sipping blackberry brandy, drowning the pain that began in his young body as he lay trapped under a burning tree, the downside of firefighting. With him, there is the smell of freshly cut wood and strength, the laughter that is shared among deep-rooted family, and maybe the skins of a few muskrat wrapped carefully in the back seat. I remember the sweet smell and the feeling of the soft pelt between my little fingers as he showed off his catch to nuestra familia. I remember my mother's turquoise enamel wood stove with glass in the oven door, where I could watch the chocolate chip cookies rise, the smell of her pozole. My mother telling my great-grandmother's story, home brewing blackberry wine, the favored Sabbath drink, but in a rush and frustration, heading to the pharmacy to purchase grain alcohol. When interrogated by the pharmacist, she said, "You think a sweet little old lady like me would do a thing like that?" I have learned to watch sweet little old ladies, and she got her liquor to add to the brew. Later, the memories of cruising the strip in Espanola on a Saturday night, admiring the gleaming finish on the lowriders and the flash of the young men's smiles. A handsome young stranger with his mother in the pinch and penny laundromat on a Tuesday, alluring in his care and tenderness for her. The flavor, a memory, blackberry brandy. Here, my daughters, grown, picking succulent handfuls of blackberries from the wild canes in Arcata, California, bird sanctuary. Touched by saltwater air, as I once did in the city of Marin, out behind the Victorian apartment building, blackberries and cream. Now I find it in Fort Collins, Colorado, home to a Swiss queen, in a high-toned strip mall liquor store, and guided by GPS, the bottle is found dusty on the shelf, no longer crumpled old bills, but a signature on a line, blackberry brandy. And here are the new ones. Magic. My hand pressed against the cool window pane. I hear the wind blowing like the churning sea. Yet out my window, in the pungent darkness, it appears that the tree is holding still, and instead the stars are swinging about, hanging in the sky. This is the here and now, yet in my bones I am gazing at you, resplendent mother, with magic dripping from the hem of your skirt. How I miss your magic. The magic of blue star kachinas dancing through the desert night, their tangible song spilling into the still air. The magic of a huge orb of star waking you in the night, its heatless brilliance settling down in the canyon, illuminating the red rock landscape like day with its internal dancing light. Then just when you have your feet planted in the cool dirt, your heart racing, it returns to the heavens. I miss your magic, your stories, your endless tales, you cooking for the crew on a fishing boat in the wild Pacific waters with a huge tank of salt brine herrings sloshing about the deck. You painting into the night with a midday full-color palette and sequins, always sequins. Every meal, you say, starts with sauteed garlic and onions. This richness, this magic that begins with cast iron and a cutting board, too, is your palette. There is all this craziness in the world, Mother. I mean, it's all senseless, falling apart at the seams, sorrow and greed, hollow modernity, red tape unraveled and stretching across the sky, children murdered in their safe place, the world all but stolen away, burned up. But here, in this precipice of tranquility, in this moment, I reach out for your magic and feel your fingertip on my forehead, the cool sandalwood paste. I know somehow it all makes sense, not like the cogs all turning like clockwork, but in that constant exhale of creation where we are humbled, brought to our knees by magic. This is how it is, you say, my child, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, 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 daughter. And this is a poem of the hopefulness that comes after going through an intense journey. My body is a flat thing, its energy returning to some two-dimensional line, like a hawk when it lands heavily on a branch, its sharp eyes scanning the land for the moment before it once again takes to the sky. I have bled freely from heart wounds and cyclic spirals, and now those gashes are clean and ready to heal. Now I am the new moon, a point of resonance, waiting for the procession to fullness to commence. Like the moment before the next breath, when the lungs are still and dark, ready for the fresh air to rush in. This life breath is inevitable. It is written in the lines of my hands. It is like all the little rivulets that trickle down to become a meandering river, so much momentum sliding to the sea. Because I have been full before, my luminescent skin has become like wind-polished stone, like the fire-burnt landscape, waiting for new life, for rain on the parched earth, for promise. I came here to this dusty path, not to wander forever in the desert, but to return with the knowledge that dripped down on me from the dark heavens. My body is a curved thing. it has been molded by life, formed and smoothed, layers rising up from the bones like swaddling cloth over steel structure, a blood marrow wavelength reaching out with a hunger for the new. Only from a deep sense of center can I branch out, leaves waiting for the sun. I left my footprints in front of the kitchen sink and set out on my own mythological reality, one where I am the main character. That's all. I have lots of other poems with me and some printed out if anybody's interested.
We have an extra half an hour.
We have an extra half an hour.
God, God, come on.
Would you like me to read some more? Here's something a little lighter. The belly. The belly, round, smooth. The belly moves with rumbled earth tones. The belly, its soft flesh tantalizing. The belly, feeling like butter pressed up against the substance of the beloved. The belly, birth home, churning new life. The belly, transforms sustenance, the belly returning to center. Here's another one that I wrote or read at our first poetry reading. And maybe some of you have read it, and Carnelian Center's letter. An ode to dung beetle. Oh, dung beetle, please take out all the words and beliefs that do not serve me. Define my true person. Reflect the reality of who I know myself to be in my heart of hearts. I am purified by your tireless efforts. Because of you, the chimpanzee in me can speak freely of true self. Some of these falsities are proclaimed even in my own thoughts. Roll these away, my beetle. Roll away the shit plastered to my brain. Leave me clean like a desert stone. The words and statements written on glossy pages can no longer touch me due to your persistence. My beauty is born of my true self, and you help me clean the slate. The wrongdoing that marred the little girl's spirit in me, setting up a deep feeling of shame in my bones, you, my friend, have agreed to clear out the vault. Even this shit ton you work on day and night, rolling these dank balls into the light ka to be purified, fuel for transformation. The tangled words that come out of the human mouth of my love are artfully rolled away by your small legs. That I may hear his true meaning, that I may respond to him with clarity and compassion from the naked purity of myself. All the images that come from screens telling me how to think of myself are no match for your shiny shell and small beating heart. You stop them from marring my self-reflection before they even touch my eyes. Your attention never falters. No wave of sound can even reach my soul because you roll it away in the caverns of my ears before they ever reach my vestibules. Time folds itself that you may do your work of self-determination, my malus, incus, and stapes ring true, that I may translate the sound into just what it is, a story of the world in all its complexity. Within the cochlea, you clear all the residuals, purifying the fluid that I may find balance. The chambers of my heart are clean and radiant. My arteries are pure channels for blood to flow, for you have rolled away all the plaque, a misunderstanding between me and the world. I am effortlessly nourished by life. My hunger is satiated in the knowing of who I am. The very tissues of my thyroid are clear of scarring and foreign bodies due to your superpowers, my dear dung beetle. Thank you for your eternal friendship, knowing that we are all forever burning within the light of our Ka. May you befriend your own dung beetle and employ his companionship, that we may eradicate the feces from this world, providing fertile soil for a new way of being. Amen, 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 and with great devotion. Thank you all.
What a great pleasure it is to work with all these talented people. So I just discovered that the person who was supposed to go on after us is canceled. You're in the steady rollers, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we just sort of fill in with some poetry?
Sure.
You're going to go on at 4.
Yeah.
So we have, how much time do we have?
3:41.
Okay, I was thinking like maybe about 5 minutes extra.
Maybe a little setup time for the band,
You want 5 minutes?
or leave.
Okay, well, we'll fill in a little bit extra. How's that sound? I mean, we can just leave dead air here if you want. No? Yes? Maybe? I'm gonna read something. Who cares? I know it's like an hour and a half of poetry is a lot.
So is it in aerospace now?
No, we're gonna do a couple of poems. We'll give you 10 minutes to set up. How's that sound? We'll get off at 3:50. Does that sound good?
Sure.
You're all ready to go?
We go past 4 and everything, it's no big deal.
No, we
We'll
have
try
an
to do
extra
it.
half an
Now,
hour.
we're not really ready to go, but
It takes longer than 10
I want you to
It
do
takes longer than
your
10
thing.
minutes, but that's okay, we can be, go ahead, go for it.
Okay.
We'll be as quick as we can.
Yeah.
We want you to,
Everybody's left anyways. So. We lost our audience. We have 2 people in the audience. Do you want to read some again? Open mic? Okay. This one was, a very dear friend of mine. He's sort of my first roommate in college. The first roommate that I actually liked. And we had an interesting relationship. He was an artist and a photographer, and sort of taught me how to see the world in that way. And so I owe him a great debt of gratitude. He passed away. He committed suicide, actually. And it was, you don't know what's going on. Right? He was in Korea when he passed away. Right? So, but I must have written this poem right around that time, and I can only explain it as the journey of his soul to another place. Because when I finished writing the poem, it was early in the morning, I just broke down in tears, and I've never had that experience with any other thing that I've written. When the exact center of the line of time finally intersects with the absolute middle of the solid night, they rupture a rift between the realities, a dimensional chasm, a cosmic orgasm, both imploding and exploding, each to the other unloading, to seed the infinite night with sacred light and spread out space with time, reflecting the beginning and ending of things, all that the past and the future brings, as the warping of light into matter becomes quickened by time. It precipitates the common mind. Sorry, that may not have been the final version. That poem kept on coming in and out of focus as I was writing it, and I never really quite gotten to the end of it. Okay, one more for me. Gazing through the field of view, projected from the jewel within your heart, your organism exudes emotion in liquid form of imperceptible density, shifting focus, color, and intensity. From the central flower grows, whorls and flows, changing form and perspective, moving patterns and fluctuation. Feelings become memories in radiation, floating remnants of past incarnations, streaming with the strength of feeling, weightless, invisible, soothing, healing. The colors of remembered dreams, charged with the force of spirit and astral song, but we barely hear. In this pool of felt memory, we are floating, surrounded by our solid light coating. Where the mundane obscures the sublime, we are bound to matter, blind to dream time. With that charged aura, as you channel power from the flora, from the flexibility of your field, using nature as your shield, with compassion for all your relations, creating love with inspiration. Harmonize your body with heaven, let your mind be still. Become a conduit for the starry night, for it is their ancient light that shines through your will.
know a place where the stars come down, where there's a bridge with my friend's name on it carved into the guardrail with a rusty nail. I know a place where the stars come down over the now quiet garden plots, where the husband and his partner, labored and cabbages grew to enormous sizes. Now in winter the soil lies silent, laid out under the stars, and we gather around the dining table inside, forking out summer sauerkraut onto our plates. I know a place where the river decides to ankle south, after heading west with determination of 500 CSFs. There at the wall of Felspar, the green waters angle right and send their class 2 meandering left into rock garden, erupting into class 5, where the waters run free, singing out all the way to Mexico. I know a place where if I stand on the bridge, my eyes take in the panorama of ambered waters, sided by orange gold tamarisks, sending their reflection downstream like parents' memories of little waters growing up. There the river waters spread out, easing into a wide pond, wide enough to float on your back and dream into the clouds. I know a place where I can tip the stars from the sky, render them captured, and employ their brightness in the night to light the dark corners of heart's longing. Send zinging into your eyes as on the riverbank you take me into your arms. We dial KNCE, turn it up, and two-step on the caliche floor of Star Club in the dust on the bank of the Rio Grande.
What's that? I don't know. I'm just helping out. This is the steady roll.
This one's called
Hey, good.
The Perils of Living in a Small Town. And if you live in a small town, you gotta be careful what you say because it can just travel.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with a fair bit of warning. If you happen to live in a small town, your neighbors will know more about you than even you have ever found. They know what time you go to bed, and you have a political affiliation too. Why they even can tell who is going out with who. Better stay out of trouble and always be on your best behavior. God forbid if you slip up, you'll be the talk before the morning paper. Yet, it can get quite nasty when the gossip begins to swirl. People can get quite vicious to where your hair might even begin to curl. Was that Mary with tons of makeup on? I didn't know the circus had come to town. You think you really know someone? She turned out to be a clown. And then there's Tommy with a new tattoo, and we knew him to be a troublemaker. Why, he probably goes home and beats his wife with that no good for nothing troublemaker. And did you see Lucy at the dance? She sure smells of lots of booze. Everyone said she's so religious. Look at her now, that is goody two shoes. Don't say I didn't warn you. Live in a small town at your own, in a small town at your own risk. Just don't be too surprised to find your whole life on a computer desk. Maybe I'll just move to the city where it's big and very loud. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get lost in that big crowd. That's all.